The double assassination of a mother of two and an innocent hairdresser are the latest in a long list of public place shootings across Sydney. Lametta Fadlallah, 48, and Amy Al-Hazzouri, 39, were sprayed with bullets as they sat in a car on a suburban street. In June, former lone wolf bikie Yusuf Nazlioglu was executed as he got out of his car in the underground car park of an apartment complex in Rhodes as his horrified new wife watched on. The shootings often follow a familiar pattern. The victim is sprayed with bullets before a stolen car, or sometimes two, is found set on fire in a nearby suburb. Some of these crimes have been linked to an ongoing gangland war between rival crime networks in the area, while others remain unsolved. The Al-Ahmadine and Hamza families have been linked to a number of them, while others have been attributed to bikies, with several prominent members executed. This is not an exhaustive account of all shootings or gang-related crimes, but paints a picture of the blood spilled on streets across the city in the past decade. Some deaths have been omitted from this list because of legal reasons. Lametta Fadlallah and Amy Al-Hazzouri, August 13, 2022. Two women were gunned down while sitting in a car about 10 p.m. on August 13, 2022, in a targeted assassination. Lametta Fadlallah, 48, and 39-year-old Amy Al-Hazzouri, died after their car was sprayed with bullets near a home on Hindi Avenue, Panania. NSW Homicide Squad boss Danny Doherty declared criminals had thrown the rulebook out the window by stooping to the new low of targeting women. He said the shooting was an organized, methodical murder aimed at killing Fadlallah, a mother of two. Police are investigating whether Fadlallah had information about Sydney's underworld that someone possibly wanted silenced. Later in life she was in a relationship with a notorious King's Cross standover man, who is now also dead. However, police described the death of the second victim, Al-Hazzouri, as collateral damage. A 16-year-old girl and 20-year-old man were also sitting in the car at the time and were shaken but not injured in the attack. No charges have been laid over their deaths. Yusuf Nazlioglu, June 27, 2022. Yusuf Nazlioglu, a former lone wolf bikie, was shot as he got out of his car in the underground car park of an apartment complex in Rhodes about 6:30 p.m. on June 27. His wife, who he married in January, was in the car with him and watched on as he was shot up to 10 times. The 40-year-old had recently been released from jail on weapons charges. Nazlioglu also stood trial over the shooting murder of former Comancheros boss Mick Howie. Police alleged Nazlioglu was the gunman in the 2018 hit, but he was acquitted at trial, as was his co-accused. Omar Zahed, May 11, 2022. Omar Zahed, a man with links to the Comancheros bikies, was sprayed with bullets at the Auburn BodyFit gym where he was working out at. The 39-year-old died at the scene. NSW police said they warned him less than a week earlier that their lives were in danger, but he chose not to take extra precautions. Zahed also came to the attention of police last August when he was found on the Bay Walk in Des Moines, in the middle of the night, in breach of the COVID-19 lockdowns. Ghassan Amoun, January 6, 2022. Ghassan Amoun was the brother of convicted criminal Bassam Hamza and a cousin of Bilal Hams, who was killed in the city's CBD last year. The 35-year-old was found injured in a car parked near the Great Western Highway just after midday on January 6, 2022. Amoun had been released from jail just days before he was shot after being locked up for a year for breaching a crime prevention order. When he walked free, police warned him he was a target and described his murder as quite obviously targeted. Shady Khanj, August 6, 2021. Shady Khanj, 22, was shot in Guildford while driving on the night of August 6, 2021. He managed to make it to a nearby house but died there. Detectives said at the time a link between the 22-year-old and the Alameddine organized crime network was being investigated. In a strange twist, an innocent bystander watching soccer in his car was hit with a bullet during the attack, but survived relatively unscathed. He said he didn't remember the bullet grazing his head, just that his windscreen smashed and he blacked out. Bilal Hamz, June 17, 2021. Bilal Hamz's death was high-profile and particularly public. He was gunned down in Sydney's CBD as he left a restaurant. Police said the 34-year-old, the cousin of notorious gang leader Bassam Hamza, was gunned down in a hail of bullets on Bridge Street, near Pitt Street, about 10:25 p.m. on June 17, 2021. This was a brutal, execution-style murder. It was carried out in a busy street in the middle of Sydney's CBD. It was extremely fortunate that no members of the public were injured, Doherty said the next day. In mid-September, NSW police released more CCTV in an attempt to jog the memory of anyone who witnessed anything back in 2021. Mick Howie, February 15, 2018. The hit on Omar Zahed was a near-carbon copy of the murder of Mick Howie, who was also killed at a gym in Rockdale in 2018. The 37-year-old was the boss of the Comanchero bikie gang and became national president of the club at just 22. His name became more widely known after the infamous bikie brawl at Sydney Airport in 2009. Dozens of Comancheros took on Hells Angels members, and an associate of the rival club, Anthony Zervas, was bludgeoned to death with a bollard. Howie served time in prison for his role in the killing. However, his murder conviction was quashed in 2014. It is after this brutal public display of violence NSW police established Strike Force Raptor, which still investigates organized crime and gang violence today. In 2018, 3 men were charged over Howie's murder. Yusuf Nazlioglu, 39, faced trial in the NSW Supreme Court accused of firing the fatal shots, while Jamal El-Jaidi, 32, was accused of driving the getaway car. Both men were acquitted in 2020. A third, Ahmad Duder, pleaded guilty just before the trial began to being an accessory after the fact to murder by moving one of the cars. Nazlioglu was shot dead in Rhodes on June 27, 2022. Kemal Blackie Barakat, March 10, 2017. Kemal Barakat was murdered as he slept in his bed in Mortlake in the early hours of March 10, 2017. He was an associate of the Hells Angels. There was a woman sleeping next to Barakat when he was shot in the torso. In 2020, Ahmed Jagbir was jailed for his role in Barakat's killing, of cutting a key so that 4 masked gunmen could carry out the execution. Pascual Barbaro, November 14, 2016. Crime figure Pascual Barbaro was shot dead on a suburban Sydney street in the same manner as his grandfather, who shared his name. The 35-year-old was gunned down on a footpath in Earlwood and bled out on the pavement. In December, Abuzar Sultani and Seer Munchazada were jailed for life for 3 gangland killings, including the murder of Barbaro. During the 7-month killing spree, Michael Davey and Mehmet Yilmaz were also gunned down. Waleed Wali Ahmad, April 29, 2016. Waleed Wali Ahmad was killed in a hail of bullets as he sat at a cafe at Bankstown Central Shopping Centre in April 2016. The gangland kingpin is thought to have been killed in revenge for the death of Safwan Charbahi, who was killed in a smash repair shootout a few weeks earlier. In 2020, Ahmad's death was referred to the Unsolved Homicide Squad, after the deputy state coroner concluded that the convicted killer was himself killed by an unknown person. Safwan Charbahi, April 9, 2016. Safwan Charbahi, 32, died on April 9, 2016 in a shooting outside a panel beater in Condell Park linked to Wali Ahmad. An outstanding debt dispute was one of the possible motives investigated over the fatal shooting. His death inflamed tensions between warring factions of Sydney's underworld that have been simmering ever since.